today we are back in the kitchen prepping our meals for the week. Now this week is kind of nice because we just got back from vacation. So I'm gonna show you an easy meal prep because I'm tired from traveling and typically I don't have much time to get to the store after coming back. So I have pretty much everything that I have bought before vacation ready in order to prep. It's been good in the fridge all week and I am ready to go. So a lot of these meals are quick, they're easy. Originally I had planned a lasagna that was in the freezer, but I ended up having that yesterday because we got home and I was not ready or not willing to cook anything, so I pulled that out of the freezer. So if you are coming back from vacation, you typically want meals where you have the stuff in your pantry, in your freezer, in your refrigerator that you can easily prep and put together, or meals that you have frozen that you can just warm up and get on the table. Anything to make that week back from vacation easier so you're not eating out all the time. For us, we also start our spring baseball season, so we have a lot more going on. So of course, the first week back into starting crazy busy spring sports, I want things easy. So our menu this week is meatloaf, cheeseburgers, that's on the request of my 9-year-old who turns 9 on Tuesday, and chicken ranch, ranch chicken, baked ranch chicken, one of my 6-year-old's favorite meals. And then we are also having some American Chop Suey at the end of the week, and then Parmesan chicken. On Thursday, we will have the leftovers. So some of that seems like, oh my goodness, those don't seem like quick and easy meals, but let me tell you, they are. And the way we prep for them, we'll show you. So first thing I'm gonna do is prep the stuff for meatloaf and mashed potatoes. Now I know what you're thinking, there's no way that you can have meatloaf and mashed potatoes in less than an hour time of cooking on the weekday. But the way I'm gonna do it, you're gonna get it on the table in half an hour, all right? So what I do is I make the meat, I use cheddar cheese, oatmeal, eggs, salt. You could do an onion. I used to do an onion, but my kids were complaining about it so much that I decided just to take it out. So it's actually very basic, but really good when you add the cheese in it. And then I prepare them in these tiny little, they're brownie pans, a brownie pan. But I put the meatloaf in each of these, and so we have mini meatloaves. So one, they cook a lot quicker. And two, they're just easier to eat and prepare. So, and I can just make it ahead of time. It's not this big, huge loaf that I'm cutting into. So we double everything, right? So we got 2 pounds of meat here. And then I used to measure everything out, right? But I just kind of eyeball it. About a cup of oats. And this is for 2 pounds of meat. If you're doing only a pound of meat, then you would just do half a cup. A cup of sugar, a cup of cheddar cheese, so I do 2 cups. Really, that cheese throughout the meatloaf is really good. Now, I typically wouldn't make like my cheddar meatloaf and cheeseburgers in the same week, just because it's a lot of the same thing. But because it's my son's birthday, and that's what he requested was the cheeseburgers, I'm doing both. 2 eggs, so 1 egg per pound of meat. And then save your eggshells for your compost pile. They're awesome for your compost. Okay, and then I just get in with my hands and I kind of mix it together. And then I'm gonna put it all in the pans here. All right, that literally took no time at all. Maybe less than 5 minutes to mix it all together and put it in there. I don't do it all nice and neat. I just put it in there and I'm done with it. Because what I'm gonna do is put plastic wrap over top of it. And then I will stick them in the refrigerator. I typically try to make meatloaf at the beginning of the week, Monday or Tuesday, just because the meat can get oxidized, you know, and look brownish. It's still good to go. Even if you do wait to the end of the week and it looks brown and it's oxidized, it's just the oxygen gets to it and turns it brown. But it's edible. It's kind of more of a appearance type thing. So I stack them pretty thin pans and I put them in the refrigerator. And when I get home on Monday, what I will do is I will take them out of the refrigerator and I will take the potatoes out of the refrigerator, which is what I'm going to show you next. And I will warm up the oven. When the oven's warming up, the potatoes and the meatloaves are coming a little bit more to room temperature. I can pop the meatloaf in the oven and I can get the potatoes on the stove. All of it will be done in about a half an hour. While those are cooking, I'll mix up my ketchup, brown sugar, and mustard topping to put over top of the meatloaf and cook my green beans in the steamer. Less than 10 minutes to do that, and dinner is done. So with that being said, I'm gonna go back to the potatoes, right? So doing mashed potatoes on a weeknight can be very time consuming. However, what I'm going to show you is you can peel them, you can dice them, you can put them in a pot of water and put them in the refrigerator. If it's cold enough outside, you can leave them outside in the garage or even outside, as long as you don't have critters that can get to them. Just cover them up and leave them in there. So that keeps them from getting brown, and it also has all of the hard prep work done for you to cook them. So I'm going to get my potatoes, we're going to peel them, we're gonna put them in our pot that we'll cook them in, and they will be ready to go. Now, I'm also doing potatoes with the chicken ranch bake, just because I have the potatoes. I don't typically do this much potatoes in a week, but again, it's a unusual week coming back from spring break. So what I'm gonna do is divide the rest of the potatoes that I have in half. These ones I'm gonna put in the stock pot for my mashed potatoes. The other ones I'm gonna peel and dice, and I'm gonna put in just a smaller container, again, in water, because if you put them in water, they will hold up. And when I'm ready for the chicken bake, I'm just gonna roast them. So I'll take them out, dry them out, and then put them in the oven to roast them. So again, when you are making potatoes for during the week, if you wanna save yourself some time, you can dice them, chop them, do what you need to do, just make sure they're in some water. I've never actually done the roasted potatoes in water before, so I'm experimenting this week. I like to do that every once in a while to see if it saves time or not. So follow up, I'll let you know how it goes. But I do know the mashed potatoes works. I have done that all the time, and I even do it for my Thanksgiving potatoes. So anyway, let's get peeling and putting them in the stock pot. Okay, and there you have it. The potatoes are done. Now, if you don't have enough room in the refrigerator, we actually have two refrigerators. We have one in the garage, and then we have one in the kitchen. Typically, at the beginning of the week before I start my meal prepping, I go through the refrigerator, and any leftovers that have not been eaten or that are getting old, that we're not gonna end up eating, I just get rid of. I'm not gonna waste room in my refrigerator, so that I have room for most of my meal prepping stuff. But I also have the outside fridge. It's cold right now here in Michigan, so I could put the potatoes outside if I really wanted to. Or if you're doing 2 nights of potatoes, you could just put them all in one pot. The reason why I didn't is because my roasted chickens or my roasted potatoes are cut a lot smaller than my mashed potatoes. You could at least just peel them and put them in the water whole, and then dice them up the nights that you need them. You could do that as well, but I like to have all of it diced if I can. So I'm just gonna put these in the refrigerator. We have our first night of meatloaf done. Our second night is cheeseburgers. We are actually gonna go take cheeseburgers up to my husband's work because he is working that day on Christopher's birthday. So what I am going to do, all I have to do for the cheeseburgers is make the patties. I don't even put the salt and pepper on them. I just make the patties. and then I can take them there, wrap them up into a Ziploc bag with some parchment paper in between, and they're ready to go. Super easy for the weeknight. If you are planning on cheeseburgers, you could cut up any lettuce, tomatoes. If you want to bake them on your burger, you can book your bacon ahead of time. You could cut any vegetables that you might want to have them ready. If you like to add stuff into your burger, salt, pepper, garlic, you know, some people put Worcestershire sauce in there. You could do that ahead of time and make the patties as well. I like them plain. We just make patties, and then when we're ready to grill them, we put salt and pepper on them and throw them on the grill. So really, I'll have those. The buns will be ready. We're gonna have French fries with them and some baked beans, all pretty much ready to go stuff. So I don't have to do any real prepping for that, except for make the patties. Okay, so as I was doing it, I changed my mind. We like to make smash burgers on the Blackstone. So what I did, instead of making patties, I just made the balls that we usually roll them up into and then put them on the grill to smash them. So either way, that prep part of it is completed. Right, so our cheeseburger night is ready. We'll just take the French fries, the baked beans, the buns, and any toppings that we want with us. Our next night is the ranch chicken bake, and because I'm going to be cutting up chicken, so we're going to do that with potatoes. We've already got the potatoes done. I'm going to wait and cut up the chicken last. It's just one of my things that I like to do the chicken last. So we're gonna kind of skip forward to the chop suey night. Really, all we need for that is we need some ground beef. Now, I don't want to ground the beef up ahead of time because you kind of saute a little bit of the vegetables and then cook the ground beef and then add the noodles afterwards. So I have my ground beef for that thawed out, or is thawing out. I will keep that in the refrigerator just as is, so I don't have to do anything with the meat. And then it just requires an onion, a pepper, and celery. So all I have to do is chop up these vegetables. It also it takes garlic. Now, last time I meal prepped, I had chopped up a whole thing of garlic, a whole head of garlic. And since I did that, I only used about half of it in my last week's prep. So I still have quite a bit left. So I do not have to chop garlic up this week. Yay. And I probably might not have to next week either, because it's not going to be that much. So anyway, I have the garlic already chopped up. I'm just going to chop up the pepper, the onion, and a couple ribs of celery. And my chop suey night will be prepped, and we will only have 2 more nights left. Okay, so I'm done cutting up those vegetables. I threw them in one container because the recipe says basically we're sauteing them all at the same time to start with. So I just put them in one container. Easy for the refrigerator. Now, on a side note, I did save my onion peels. The reason why is I save my onion peels and I put them in the freezer. And what I'm going to try and do with it is make garlic powder, or not garlic, onion powder with it. I've never done it before, but I've been collecting them long enough and I'm running out of onion powder. So next week, I'm actually going to try and make some. They say you use the peels after storing them for a while and you bake them, grind them all up, and it's your onion powder. So we'll see. So just a side tip, if that's something that you're interested in, start saving them and just put them in a Ziploc bag in the freezer. And then when you have enough, that's what you can do with them. Another thing is I talk about keeping your compost. Now, if you're not interested in it, fine, just go ahead and throw it away. But this week, our garbage, our pull-out garbage has a garbage and then the recycling bin. Well, we never use the recycling bin because we have one in the garage and we're recycling things all the time. So I kind of came up with this idea of making that other one that's covered my compost bin. So it's kind of nice because it's right next to my refrigerator, but I put all of my waste in there. my peppers. That celery wasn't great, so I didn't really get to save much. All of my potato peels I peeled right into there. The eggs, or the eggshells, I should say, my eggshells. If I set eggshells on a paper towel as I'm cooking, I will throw that paper towel in there because that can be part of your compost. Coffee grounds, every morning when I switch out my coffee, I'm going to put my coffee grounds in there, so you can keep piling that up. I'm going to use that. This one has a cover, so at least, you know, it'll keep some of the stink out, but the garbage stinks anyway, so what's the difference if you ask me? And then once that gets full, I'm going to find a bigger container to empty it outside and add some mulch, leaves, and things like that to create more compost. So anyway, just a food for thought. If you find yourself not using that recycling bin like we don't, that's another option for you if you want to use it for your garden. All right, so now that we are off of that, we have our chicken that we have to finish for the week. So the chicken bake that I'm doing, we need slices of chicken. So we have the big old chicken breast. So what I like to do is at least cut up the chicken to how it needs to be prepared in order to get it in the oven or ready to cook. So these ones, I'm just gonna try to, you know, slice the chicken breast in half lengthwise and then just cut them into smaller pieces. And I'm gonna put them into a baking dish. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to put them into a plastic bag. That way, when I go to cook it, I can just put it on a nice big sheet pan. And then with that, what goes on top is a mixture of mayonnaise, ranch dressing mix, cheddar cheese, and a little bit of garlic. So it's so easy. You could make that ahead of time, and I probably will, just to kind of show you what to do, and we'll put it in the refrigerator. And then all you have to do is put it right on top of the chicken, put it in the oven. We're gonna do the roasted potatoes with it, so super easy. All right. The other chicken that we're having, the Parmesan skillet chicken, at the end of the week is the same thing. It's gonna be chicken breasts that we are going to use cut up. So I am going to work on cutting all the chicken up. And then at the end, the last thing that we have to do for the Parmesan chicken is shred Parmesan. All right. I like to do all of the hard tasks ahead of time. Shredding cheese is typically one of the worst ones. I do have a KitchenAid shredder that I like to use for this, so I will get that out to shred the chicken, make that pretty quick and easy. But otherwise, with that, all we're doing is adding in the breadcrumbs, salt, pepper, Parmesan cheese, and getting it ready for the skillet. So let's work on the chicken and the cheese, and we will be just about done. Okay, so you just saw me make the mayonnaise cheese mixture to put on top of the chicken bake. That was just a cup of mayonnaise, 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, 4 teaspoons, I should say, of minced garlic, and 2 packets of ranch dressing. I have the big container from Costco, so that's 4 tablespoons. That's a double recipe because we double everything. So if you don't tend to have as big a family, you can have that, and that'll work just as good. So that's that recipe. And then I sliced up the chicken for both the chicken bake and the Parmesan skillet chicken. I shredded the Parmesan cheese in the KitchenAid. It literally took no time at all, maybe 5 minutes to even get everything out, run the cheese through it, and I have this big bowl of shredded Parmesan, so I can use it this week. And then in a couple weeks, I think we have Parmesan chicken on the menu, so I can use it for that. And I didn't have to hand shred it. That KitchenAid attachment is amazing. So I bought it off Amazon. I'll put the links in the comments if that's something that you want, that you have for your KitchenAid. So anyway, that is it for today. Those are our meals for this week. If you have recipes that you think take a really long time and you want to know how I would break that down to prep during the week, drop them in the comments, and then I can try to incorporate them in the next few weeks of our meal prepping. Otherwise, stay tuned, and I will see you next week for our next week's meal prep.